Greetings, it's Vaygrim. Welcome to a mod guide episode, but a mod that I think most people probably overlook on most mod packs. They feel it's a necessity, but they don't really put thought into exactly how much it changes and improves their experience with a mod pack. Hello again, piggies. I'm coming back through on my way home. Or a note. Oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of coal. Oh, there's more coal. I didn't even see that up there. Most people, when they make a mod pack, one of the mods they feel is a necessity, but they don't really investigate the merits of, is that mod that's got a screen, a little window in my top right corner. The Minimap. Most people really don't look a second time. There we go, going that way. They don't give a second look at their Minimap options. A lot of people choose something they've been using for a long number of years. They go with options that they, I haven't fixed that double copper problem yet. They go with options that they feel are safe choices, or they've heard something about their friends use it. But I mean, really, they don't put a lot of thought into just how much better good mapping software makes your gaming experience. And one of the best examples of that I can think of is JourneyMap, especially with oh yeah, those guys. I had to go around those guys. I actually did not come straight from home. I can show you actually. I can zoom out. Here is my journey weaving around the map. Now, I came this way, following the coastline, just looking for better things, more interesting. I'm out scouting. And as you can actually see right now, the map area around me is growing. Why is it doing that? Well, that brings to light some of the improvements that have actually been put into the newer versions, especially the 5.10 version of JourneyMap. A gentleman by the name of Techbrew and Mysticdrew also, and several other people, have helped. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Let's go to Actions. About. Here we go. The new About screen. This is one of the improvements that they really have given to this mod. You can see the latest changelog in this version. What are some of the new improvements that have been made? What recent changes? Well, what's even better is that if I left click on one of these, many performance improvements, new feature grid editor, customize the chunk grid. These actually click straight to the changelog on the website, which I think is a brilliant option. I think that's a great idea. We've got some of the patrons and two of the developers for JourneyMap itself, Techbrew and Mysticdrew. Yes, and a couple of their patrons. So we can actually adjust so much about the functionality. I can turn on and off all of these things if I so choose. I actually like seeing animals. I don't always leave mobs on. I usually turn it on when I'm caving or at night. I can see what the map is going to look like during the day cycle, during the night cycle. You can actually spot little points where there's lava. You can spot where some of my torches have been left every once in a while. But yeah, really, really great. And it's got a lot of awesome... I'm going to turn the villagers back on. Actually, going to turn the grid... Actually, let's leave the grid on for the sake of the big map. But I can even change themes. I can manage my waypoints if I so choose. Let's say I know this is an extreme hills biome. I need to come back here specifically so I can actually find some emeralds. I can double left click to make a waypoint. Extreme hills. If I so choose, I can change the color however I want. Let's put it over there somewhere. We can actually do random color. There we go. And I can even adjust at what level the little icon will show, what dimensions these coordinates equate to, etc., etc. It really is great. It defaults to overworld if you're in the overworld. If I was in the end, it would default to the end as being on, everything else off. So yeah. Now I have behind me an Extreme Hills waypoint, and ahead of me I have home. Let's put that in there. Chickens, do you have some eggs for me? Well, sorry, I need feathers. Hiya! So, there have been tons of improvements that have actually been put into things behind the scenes in, no, you're not escaping, in JourneyMap. One of the biggest improvements is the fact that it now actually starts, when you're zooming in and out, it starts with a low resolution texture and then swaps it out with a high resolution texture for lower performance machines. This squeezes a little bit more performance out. It means that you can kind of spread out the impact good mapping software is going to have on your machine. Other options that we can actually look at, if you go into options right here, Minimap preset. I have preset 1 and preset 2. What's the difference? Well, this is preset 1, my wandering around. This is preset 2. What I do is when I'm caving, I can go underground. Let's see if we can make ourselves an example here. I like to keep this up when I'm caving quite a bit, specifically because if I start going this way, underground, you'll see suddenly the map grays out. Now what I can do is I can zoom in, and it is very slowly, oh, that just ruined the illusion, didn't it? It is very slowly going to start mapping this tunnel that I'm in. And there it is. I have lit the tunnel up. It now shows up on my map. See? Now, this is standardly what I use that actual map for. When I'm just walking around, let's get the heck out of this hole. Don't need that one up. This gives me the option of having 2 different modes I can configure. That's one big perk. But let's look at some of the actual options. Not only can we adjust, if we're going to see a grid, if we're going to see pets, players, myself, my location, I can do verbose location if I want to, or simple location. I actually like verbose. I like knowing very specific numbers on the coordinates. You can have an FPS toggle to show just above the map your current FPS. That's always very, very useful. Oh, everything from compass heading. You can actually make it show the waypoints or not show the waypoints. Labels or no labels on the map itself. This is the mini map, not the full screen map. Then there's the shape of it. We can do rectangle, circle. I like square. I like slightly bigger fonts because that means the fonts are easier to read when I put my videos out and people are watching on a mobile device. That's important to me. Other people might not like that, so they can adjust it. You can, if you feel that it's a little too cheaty, you can turn off mob headings. There is actually a version called Fair Play, which doesn't let you see players, I think, or maybe players that are crouching don't show. It doesn't let you show mobs, and I don't even think it lets you see some of the monsters and villagers. It's more limited, so you cannot cheat too much in being able to see if there's a creeper coming up behind you. More Fair Play. This is the unlimited version. It's got all the options, everything enabled. I can adjust how big I want my actual, see, preview right there. Huge, all the way down to teeny tiny. I actually like leaving mine at 25. A little bit less of a footprint on the screen. Now, here's another great option that you can actually mess with is editing the grid. Now, there's squares, dotted lines. Let's turn that opacity up so they're easier to see. There's checkers. This is actually a very revolutionary concept that I like. Here's the thing to think about, right? When you do squares, where is this line? Right? Cancel. If we step out of this, zoom all the way in, that's the line, right? Right here is where this line actually is. But is this in the grid? Like, are we in one chunk? We're in another one. That's the problem. So you start to see, with this dotted line, this is not on the chunk boundary. You're on one side or the other of the chunk boundary. What you can actually do now, if you're a precise builder that likes building by Minimap, you can actually edit the grid. You can actually make it to where you can use checkers. What checkers means... Actually, you know what? Let's go back here. Let's edit the grid. Yeah, opacity 50%. Let's stick with that. Close. So now when you see, I know precisely I'm in one chunk, I'm now in another chunk. I know exactly where the dividing line for the chunk is. I know exactly what blocks it falls upon. And that could be very useful for a lot of builders I know. That's a nice feature. There is no confusion about precision. I know exactly where the intersection of these are. See, this is one. There's another one right there. And you're seeing the map update in real time. It's a great feature. So edit grid is something that's a brand new feature most people don't even know about. I'm going to go back to squares because I usually do my precision building by eye, not by minimap. So I actually don't mind the grid. A lot of times even, I don't even have the grid turned on for the small version because I don't need it. So, yep, there we go. All the way zoomed out, and we can get our bearing and start heading home. I don't want to break that just yet. I want to leave it. It's little features like this that people don't think about. They don't really put thought of concept into. And there's the village that I've taken over and called home. I've subjugated the villagers. Not really. They ignore me completely and mutter all day. But I can think of several servers, several mod packs where I wouldn't be able to function without a minimap. Now, there's even better when you think about, okay, when I started off doing YouTube, let's see, find myself. You can see that line down here is expanding outwards. It did not render in one pass. It slowly grows. I'm actually going to show you the math behind that. This is, by the way, you can adjust the full screen map just like you can the mini maps. You have web map function. A lot of people forget about this. If you have the horsepower for it, this will dent your performance. I do warn you, but they have improved the back end on this drastically from what it used to be in previous versions. I barely notice running this on my computer. But you do have web maps. So you can actually bring up on a second monitor your in-game map. It's real cool. Adjustability of waypoints. If you want to set a maximum distance so you can't see waypoints farther than, say, 2,000 blocks, you can do that. That's really good on busy servers. How the beacons show up. Some people like the beams. I'm not a big fan of them. But the great part about JourneyMap is that I can adjust them. Cartography. This is really, really good. Here's two options that a lot of people don't even think about. Always map the surface. Always map caves. These are, I believe, new. Now, what these actually do is that if I'm above ground on the surface, it is mapping the surface, right? But this means it also maps the caves. Vice versa, if I'm in caves, it is mapping the cave I'm in plus the surface. So when you put these two on, what that means is that you're always getting above and below ground. But that does affect performance. Let's say that I want to turn those off, so when I'm on the surface, it only maps the surface. When I'm below ground, it only maps below ground. That means there's going to be a little bit of reloading here and there. Your mini-map is going to take a second or two to update, but that's fine. It gives you the option to diminish the impact of the CPU impact on your system. Bathymetry. As a fan of underwater bases, I really love bathymetry because it lets you see the terrain of the ocean floor under the water. That's important to me. I love turning that on. If you don't want as much of an impact, you can actually... See, it says uncheck to improve zoom performance and memory usage. Take that off right there. You'll notice down here we get a dynamic update. It says latest. And you can even hold over this. Statistics from the latest render pass. Okay? This is really where we start getting into the nitty-gritty, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it gets important. There are a lot of adjustable settings in here now that really do let you fine-tune and tweak exactly what kind of impact you want it to have on your system. I have a minimum surface distance of 3 chunks and a maximum of 10. What does that mean? Let's zoom into where I am right now. This is the chunk I'm in. It's going to go 1, 2, 3 chunks out and then always map that distance. Then, as it gets extra CPU power in repeated passes, it will get outer rings further out up to 10 blocks total distance. That is a huge thing. That means now I could set this if I really wanted to be gung-ho about things. I could do minimum surface mapping 6, maximum distance, I could do 10, I could do 12. I actually have maximum render distance on this server set to 10, so that's fine. But I can actually see right here how much time it's taking. It is 137 chunks every single time because of this, plus an extra 56 chunks that's in the buffer area between 6 and 10. And it's getting and updating as it gets free time. I can see how much time it takes, an average of 1 millisecond. Chunks in X amount of milliseconds, X amount per chunk, basically. It's an average of 1 millisecond per chunk right now. I can even adjust the different delay renders between each pass. This lets me do the time in seconds between render passes. That's what each one of this is a pass. If I wanted to, I could bump this up to 3 seconds, minimize the impact a little bit more. There is reveal shape now, defaults to circle, but you can do square. However, circle lets you actually trim off just a few blocks on the outside corners. If you look right now, this says 137 for the minimum distance. That's what this is. If I go to square, it's going to go 169. Okay? That is a huge difference. It's basically trimmed off 32 chunks just from the corners because I did circle. And I can still see with my Minimap just fine. If I wanted to make that even more friendly to how I have things set up, I could do circle. And you'll never even notice that you're not rendering those far corners. It's seamless, it's smooth, it's nice, I love it. This also means that if you have a super beefy computer, you can crank this up to 10, crank this up to 10, and that's what it'll map. But it is going to impact your performance. Now, what's even better, cave minimum distance and maximum distance underground. You can dictate just how far it will map caves for you, so you can't see too far and get too much of an edge. Some people don't like to be able to see the caving system underground. You can even turn off cave mapping totally if you so want to. So these are really big options. These make a huge difference. Things like the render passes, how much information you want it to do per pass. The delay between passes. Now, Techbrew has given me a lot of really, really great and very, very interesting infographics that are probably going to be tossed up on screen somewhere nowish to illustrate exactly how this works. But when it comes down to it, the long and the short of it, these settings help you. They let you adjust your... Let me get all the food out of here. They let you adjust your usability. They let you adjust how much you want to push your computer. Maybe you want bare minimum mapping. Maybe you just want a couple of key features. Or maybe you want the full suite tour. Well, you can adjust JourneyMap to all of these things. Now, before I forget, I'm here back at my home, and before I forget, before the villagers get me distracted again, did I not... I thought I unpacked my... Okay, I can't remember where I put it. I settled in one of the smaller buildings out here first before I actually put my furnace down, and I kind of forgot what building it was in. I'll have to go look. Anyway, one last thing I want to show you. If you are a person that very commonly has the same or similar naming schemes for test worlds or single-player worlds, well, you're familiar with the concept of having an old map in a new world. It does happen with mapping software. Well, now you actually have the option to go up here and delete map. This will delete the current map for this dimension that you're currently in, or all dimensions, or multiple dimensions, basically. You can completely turn off mapping. This is something I think is awesome. Right now, I have my JourneyMap defaults to J on your keyboard, but I remapped mine to equals. But basically, J would bring up my full screen map, right? If I do Control J, it turns off my Minimap. Why would I want to do that? Well, you can actually go up here, disable mapping completely, Okay? Mapping is no longer getting updated. It is not updating statistics. The only thing it's doing is tracking mobs. And if I so chose, I could turn all of that off too. Then I do Control equals everything about this mod has been rendered inert, except for the passive wait status that it wants to be re-enabled. That's it. Nothing else is functioning. Nothing else is taking CPU cycles. Now, why would you want to actually do that? Well, basically, if you need to see what kind of performance impact a mod is having on your system, let's say you're pretty sure that JourneyMap is denting your performance. This way you can turn it off without having to shut down your instance, take out the mod, start it back up, test, and then shut it back down, put the mod back in, and wind it back up again. This way you can render JourneyMap inert, see what kind of performance you get, and then turn it back on later. I do Control J to turn it back on, go into my full screen, enable mapping. I can even turn back on the things that I want to see tracked on map, and we're good to go. It will update on the next render pass. There are so many options that I really do encourage you guys to open this up and just take a look at it. Like for right now, it adds this line of information, that render pass statistics information, right there across the bottom, JM in brackets. Surface, 6 plus 8, basically. It's 137 chunks every single time, plus an additional 68 chunks that it's doing on the last pass. See, 193 chunks total, 177 chunks total. It's an average of 1 millisecond per chunk. And I could tune that down even farther if I wanted to, or tune it up if I have the spare CPU cycles. So I really do encourage you to just take apart JourneyMap, poke at it, prod at it, go look at the wonderful website that they put behind this mod, and generally devote some time to it. I really am kind of amazed at how many people just kind of toss a Minimap app or mod into their actual modded Minecraft and walk away. They don't really look at what it does for them, how it can better serve them. And that's something to really keep in mind. This is Vaygrim signing off. I cannot wait for you to grab the latest version of JourneyMap and to hear what you think about it. How do you tweak it and fine-tune it? Put it in the comments below. And generally, just give the JourneyMaps team some kudos, because they've been putting some really hard work under the hood to make sure that this can have as minimal or as maximal, I don't think that's a word, of an impact on your gaming experience as you want it to. This is Vaygrim signing off. Have a good modding experience and have a good mapping experience. Bye-bye.